Thanks for sticking out. I'm Mike Savino, Mark Veau. It's been a long time since we've showed this publicly. And, you know, it's what it was for 1980s, you know. Camcorders were 2 pieces. You know, tape stock was $45 each. You know? Lighting was necessary. 2 cameras. Kerosene, blood.
Yes. And so yeah, we did that, and you can see a lot of the scenes in there just to kind of give you an idea. It was Frankenstein together, the scene of me shaving, the scene of me in the bedroom with Christine, the scene of the party. There was a real party. It was not staged. We shot all of our parties on video cassette. And when we needed a reason for the refrigerator, which we came up with the idea to take revenge, we remembered we had that party footage where we chopped the ice off the freezer box. And that was inserted into the storyline because there was no script. We made it up as we went along. And all these years later, this was actually an SOV shot on video releases. This was one of the first 5 to ever be released in the United States in its history. Shot on video. $25. $25. I'm not kidding. No, we spent $25 to make that movie. It shows, doesn't it? But for some reason, here we are today, nearly 40 years later, you know, still talking about this. Only supposed to be shown at school. That was it. That's where it was going to die. We left school. It kind of followed us, and then the internet came. And when the internet came, it just blew up. And still, to this very day, we appreciate you hanging out with us and watching this little film that we did. It's all about creativity and ideas, and being able to put those forward into our art form, which is filmmaking and video making. And that's why you can see the footage for Attack 2 was a lot better than it was on Attack 1. But we wouldn't have Attack 2 if we didn't have Attack 1. And again, brainstorming around a kitchen table in our off-campus apartment. That's how it got born. I do want to recognize Bob Allen, who played the hook. Bob, you want to stand up? Made some great, because when the refrigerator went out nationally, it was with The Hook of Woodland Heights, our second film. And I also want to introduce you to Brandon Paquin. Brandon, you want to stand up? If it wasn't for Brandon, the refrigerator would not be what it is. It's the one that we have over in the corner over here. You can take a selfie with it if you haven't already. It's the actual refrigerator that you saw in the trailer.
Any questions?
How did you get the cat to go to the fridge? Like, how do you get a cat to do that?
Well, you can see actually the corner of the frame, because you know it was made for TV, and TV always cut off about 5%. You can see a little hand drop the cat in, and it just happened to walk by, and the close-up of Christine was actually in the fridge, pulling it in because it was her cat. Closed the door, and that was it.
There is a cat in 2 as well.
Go ahead.
We have to talk about that.
If given the opportunity, what 4 icons would you want to have the fridge face?
Oh,
What was the
what are icons
Yeah.
we wanted to face? Oh boy.
I say Kathy Bates from Misery.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I just saw Evil Dead Rising, so I think it'd be kind of nice to have the ghost and the spirit against the fridge.
Yeah.
Or maybe in cahoots. That would be pretty good. You know, the Evil Dead creature gets into the fridge, maybe.
I don't want to give away too much about 2, but there is a lot of these elements that we're talking about just this very second in 2. And there's a character arc that the refrigerator goes through in 2 that you're not going to sit down on. So what we did was we took the original one. Sorry, right? We took the original one and we upped the game, and we kept, when we wrote it in the screenplay, it was like, what can we do that's even more outrageous? More outrageous, and kept pushing ourselves. Writing a screenplay is the most important part of all filmmaking. There's no doubt about it. The most important part. Alfred Hitchcock has a quote. There are 3 things you need to make a great film. The script, the script, and the script. That's his quote, and he's right. And we didn't start learning about screenwriting until after we did The Refrigerator. So, it's a long process, but it's a great process.
Thoughts? Yeah.
Can you drop any tidbits about part 2?
Well, part 2, basically, in a nutshell, is Fred, who is the ultimate kill the refrigerator fanboy, wins the actual refrigerator on eBay, and then they have a big house party. They it gets accidentally plugged in, and then from then on, a group of survivors struggle to keep alive. And it's a battle between the fridge and these survivors. So it's really an interesting story, and it has elements of the first one, which is really kind of cool.
One location.
One location, that was always our thing for when we were writing stories. We always wanted to keep it to as few locations as possible because they cost money. Even though this one costs a little bit of money, we're definitely going to try to make it the best movie that we can make it. You know? Any other questions?
Yes.
Are we expecting to see any cameos in the second one?
Mark makes an appearance in every movie we've ever made. Okay, from the first one to The Hook to Days Before Christmas. Bob is also going to be in The Killer Fridge 2 because we wanted to have a little Hook of Woodland Heights reference. Yeah. If you haven't seen that movie, that's pretty crazy too, about a maniac that goes on a terrorizing campaign throughout town and ends up getting a couple of Parkers in the woods. And it's pretty cool too. 45 minutes of a film, mainly shot in daylight because we couldn't afford lights. But it's kind of fun. On the DVD, there's a whole bunch of breakdown. Our DVD is available at terrorvision.com, and it's filled with all kinds of really cool stuff. We actually shot, I have a lot of stuff from The Killer Refrigerator, like outtakes and things. Like I said, it was made up of a whole bunch of different movies. So having all that footage on the DVD, we have a ton of Hook footage because we actually got smart and started to record behind the scenes stuff. And then we have another film on there called Days Before Christmas. John Campopiano's Snapper movie is on there, which if you haven't seen that one is really interesting. We started to make a movie about a killer snapping turtle, and then just basically ran out of money. And John created this whole documentary, which is pretty funny. And it's done really well in the different film festivals.
Any idea as to if that's going to come to light down the road?
We don't know yet. We've been approached to try to make that one, but the budget wasn't right there because they wanted us to shoot it on 16mm film like the original, and it's just so expensive to shoot on film, even today. Probably more so. So we had to sort of say, no, we can't do it because there's no sense of trying to make a movie if you don't have enough money. And but other than that, we'd love to make Below the Surface or Snapper.
Snapper. Yeah, Snapper's like Jaws, but with a giant killer snapping turtle, which is a very cool story. And when we told John about that, we had this footage of the Screen documentary. It's streaming on Screenbox. The weird thing about the refrigerator, the first one, like I said, we spent $25 on it, and it's like if you had a baseball card with it, which may not be a bad idea, and you flip the back and you looked at the stats. Rarest.org names it the 10th rarest VHS tape ever produced. It's crazy. Variety reviewed it when it first came out nationally through the Donna Michelle label. So here's a $25 film getting reviewed in Variety. There are multi-million-dollar films that don't get reviewed in Variety. And this is before the internet. So this is the magazine. Now right next to it was the Arnold Schwarzenegger's latest film. And he spent probably, just for inflation, $20 million on. Here's our film we spent $25 on. We got a better review than the Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. Oh, it still sucked. They killed us, but that's okay. But it was still better than Arnold's. Watch Mojo, if you're familiar with Watch Mojo, they have all these listings. The 10 most phenomenal killer inanimate objects in movie history. We're number 7. Right after Night at the Museum. For this. But people can't, it's the title. It's the title. Friday the 13th, a perfect example, went from over 200 titles before they settled on Friday the 13th. When asked of the success of the franchise, the title was about 90% of it. So Attack of the Killer Refrigerator in the way of a log line is almost the whole story. What else you need to know? It's Attack of the Killer Refrigerator. That's all you need to know, right? It tells you the whole story, so we have a great title, and that's what's really carrying it up. But now that we're getting into 2, we know about screenwriting, and we study screenwriting, and for years and decades, and we do it every day. It's going to make a big difference, and it's an entertaining film. And you go and you have a good time. You go on a date, you go out to eat afterwards, and then you go make out in the lake or whatever. But it's there to have a good time. Our philosophy is we're not going to get into a political situation. All right, We're not going to get into this. The way you go to the movies to have a good time. You know, you get bombarded by the other stuff, social justice, this all the time. We don't deal with that. This is a good time. This is like going to the drive-in movies when the Blob came out in the 50s. People just went for a good time and forget all the troubles that we have to feel. We're bombarded by that every day. This is an escape it's supposed to be.
Which one of you spoke refrigerator?
That was me.
That was fine.
Yeah, that's basically pencil on paper, inverted. And I think I had a couple beers. And in my head was Frigidaire, and so the D was added. And I kept it. I do have a version that I erased and tightened up the words, because you know, we did a lot with digital nowadays, but when we came time to release it, we're like, it's going as is.
Yeah. Well, they do spell fridge with a D, right? So
Counts.
it's sort of like
Okay. Well, thank you guys